Let me get to this. In the aftermath of the Manchester attack, some are already saying to just accept terror as a way of life. Listen.
Europe is getting used to attacks like this, Mika. We have to, because we are never going to be able to totally wipe this out. As ISIS gets squeezed in Syria and Iraq, we're going to see more of these kinds of attacks taking place in Europe, and Europe is starting to get used to that. None of us are used to having children targeted in this way, no. Young girls targeted in this way.
Okay, I'm sorry, Katie Case basically saying we need to get used to it, but how the hell do you get used to terror attacks on your own soil?
You absolutely shouldn't get used to it. That's what they want. This isn't just... it's not just about the carnage, right? It's about the fact that it is so disgusting. It's about the fact when you see this scene and you have girls that are still wearing their little kitten ears, little Ariana Grande kitten ears. It's about it trying to spread a fear throughout an entire culture and destroy the way of life and say, okay, I guess this is how it is. It's very important to not change our way of life, to not show them that we're afraid, to call them losers. Mm-hmm. I thought that was the most savage, wonderful thing to say. You're losers.
That previous clip, forgive me for being direct, that's a silly statement to say we're going to get used to terror when there are so many things we can do with the technology that we have, with the intelligence community that we have, with all of the resources we have. We do not have to settle for it, as some people are suggesting. We can do a lot about it. And to Kat's point about the way of life, the reason the people who do this are losers is because their way of life has lost against our way of life. That's really the big difference between how they think and how we think. They are jealous of us having the biggest economy in the world and the most powerful military in the world and the most freedom in the world.
I agree wholeheartedly, Mr. Kaine, and I will go a step further and say I utterly reject what Katie was saying there, because here's the thing. It goes down to foreseeability. To your point, many of this guy was already on their watch, Eric. They knew. They were already looking at him. San Bernardino, already looking at him. A 10-month probe on the Orlando shooter. So we are doing a lot very right around identifying these potential threats, but we're doing something very wrong, Eric, about following up. How do these things slip through the cracks?
Hold on. So,
the Orlando terrorist, I live in Miami, so I covered the Orlando terrorist. He was like a week before, he went to the place where he bought all the ammunition in order to conduct the attack. And he also wanted to buy a heavy set armor, body armor. And then the guy, the owner of the store said, no, I'm not going to sell that to you. And then he turned around and he called the FBI. And the FBI never followed up. The FBI would have been able to stop the Orlando massacre if the FBI would have kept a closer eye on him.
Why are we so concerned with Donald Trump saying, I want to be careful, I want to vet people from these 7 nations, not Muslim people, but 7 nations that have known ties to terror? Why are we so upset with his proposal
because
of that?
Because of his past comments. That's the interpretation. It's because of his past comments. It's completely legal, without a question, for a president to ban immigration based on a geographic location. But because we even had Rudy Giuliani come out and say Trump asked him how to do the Muslim ban legally. So there are signs. This is the court's point of view. I'm just saying their argument is that it is a religious ban based on his own past statement. Of course, it'd be a very bad one because most Muslims don't even come from there. I understand that.
No, but they've rejected Rudy's account of that as well, and they've pushed back. And clearly, I mean, these are 6 of the 7 in President Trump's nation moratorium came from President Obama himself. I mean, so it's clearly not a Muslim ban.
Absent, true, Eric, on its face, but absent candidate Trump's rhetoric on the campaign trail. See, this is where that rhetoric is coming back to haunt him, as Kat's saying. He specifically talked about banning Muslims. Now, though, what you're saying is right. This notion of a geographical target around criminally profiling areas where we know this type of terror arises from is very smart.
So for the safety of America, do we not want to go on what President Trump has put on paper as President Trump and forget what he said as candidate, because people say a lot of things
look at the way
when they're running for president.
Look at the way he was treated when he went to Saudi Arabia. They treated him like a kid.
They loved it.
Yeah. They loved him. So if they were so offended by what President Trump had said,
they were banned because they'd, of course, be too influential to ban.
Well, they're now.
They were not, but their Muslim brothers were on the list of the ban.
The court will figure it out for us, right, Eric?
But reality is geopolitics.